We are running out of time. Because we had 2 weeks before competition, we didn't have a working claw, we didn't have a working arm, had semi-working drive code, but we were really behind schedule.
There was this one person that kept coming to us in the beginning of all our matches and were telling us, you have to do this, you have to do this. No, it's not working. They attached another radio to us, still didn't work.
And then, about 6 matches in, we had like a revelation. That's still
fast.
quite fast, yeah.
Go to 10.
All right.
There's a lot of physics that happens. It was very stressful for all of us, I'm pretty sure. I had to wake up really early every day to take the bus here. My name is Emily. I'm from Team 6704, Mid-Pacific Owls Robotics, and my role on the team that I most fulfilled this season was imagery and social media. The start of the season, I was definitely hopeful. Our homework was to kind of research and also come up with designs. And we took things from each design. For example, we took Ethan's arm that could go 180 degrees, so from the front to the back. And then the Go Hag was very much a favorite. And so we took the Go Hag, we took the arm that could go all the way. We had a rectangular base and we put them together and we came up with one final design.
I think the biggest thing we had to think about was the claw and the arm and the weight it put on the arm. Because most of, the time we were doing things for was the claw. I think 4 weeks before we were testing autonomous and the drive base and trying to get it to, drive properly and do stuff. And then on the electrical side, I think we had finished everything that we needed to do. So it was mostly just programming stuff, and then the mechanical team was working on the tower. So we were waiting for them to finish that up. My name is Colin, and this year I was the programmer, the driver, and the electrical. I'm from Pacific Buddhist Academy, which is a very small school actually, on the other side of the island. But I decided to join the Mid-Pac Robotics team just because I really like robotics. I like the sport.
We were definitely very stressed out. In the 2 weeks, competition was really dawning close, and I think it was kind of dawning on us on how much time we had.
I think the first thought that went through my head every day was, we have to do this now. Because there isn't a later. There isn't time to procrastinate.
We were so held up with the claw. Everything kind of depended on the claw working or not. It was almost all hands on deck except for me and Emma. Everyone was just scrambling to work on the claw, get it to work. We were adding bags of Neo motors, trying to figure out counterweights.
Because at first it was too heavy, and then it wasn't powerful enough to open or grip, and then it was too heavy again. And then we eventually finally got it light enough after we added a second motor. I think we got the robot, I think we got it functional on Tuesday. So that was all making sure it worked. We got the drive code, we got the arm functional, at the end of Monday. So all of Tuesday was just testing it, testing all the things we can do with it, just making sure that it would not fall apart.
Imagery team is when a few of us, Auntie Lillian, me, and Emma and I, basically it makes our pit and our robot pretty to tie in with what we were wearing. So this year's theme that we were going for was Formula 1, and so we had the robot covered in this green tape, and then we also had tried to 3D print some things to put onto the robot that made it look like a car. We had jumpsuits that looked like Formula 1, uniforms, and our pit was a Formula 1 garage. So imagery is when we create those things to tie into the theme of this competition.
Wednesday after that was all driving. Me and Brennan got appointed as drivers, so that was all driving practice for us. We had 1 day to get ready for competition, and we had to use it.
Before we went in that day, we were kind of cleaning up the pit, like finalizing our pit and then packing everything up to take to competition. So we like used saran wrap and we wrapped around our like tool pegboard. But we went to the pit, we set everything up, we put up like posts to set up like our tent, and then we added like fabric on the side. We rebuilt our table, added our tools. And that first day, we also got to see a lot of other people setting up their pits too, which was really cool to see because everyone's pit was different in their own ways. And it was nice to see our pit like in all its glory and like finished. And it was like, oh my God, all this hard work was worth it. It looks amazing and I'm really proud of it.
Thursday was fixing things. Like 3 things broke over the course of Wednesday practice. So I think Thursday was like fixing things, improving things, and we also had to calibrate our autonomous and stuff for the field. During inspection, the 10-pound dumbbell that we had attached to the back of the arm so that it went over the robot was called out for being an unsecured ballast, which means it is a safety hazard. So we ended up just putting like an aluminum bar across it and bolting it to the back of the arm, which is definitely secure.
And after inspection, there were practice matches where you could practice with randomized alliances. We got to work with other people and like test to see if our robot worked with all the new like software and the different ways that we had to like connect our robot. And it was good practice. It was also really fun. Practice matches were really fun to me because I feel like it was like low stress for everyone. One of the highlights of that day was definitely when our alliance, I think it was us and 2 other robots, and we were the first team to get all 3 robots onto the charging station.
It's not gonna fit.
It won't fit. A little bit.
I can't scoot anymore.
No, you have to a little bit. Yeah, stay there. Stay there. Go
Go up.
You won't. No.
10 seconds.
Stay there. Don't move.
There we go.
Hey,
There.
hey!
Attention 5, 4, 3, 2.
It's definitely a highlight because it was like, our robot, look at our robot go. It's doing great. So that was definitely one of the highlights.
Friday, the first part of Friday, we went in, hopes kinda mid. We knew that the robot wasn't exactly what we had hoped it would be. It didn't have a functioning middle autonomous, it couldn't balance on its own, and it wasn't the best at moving very fast and surviving.
That's when the stress started climbing up. Qualification matches started, and we were the first match. And they were having trouble with the claw, so they were like working on the claw during opening ceremony. So I went back and I was like really stressed out because I wasn't sure if they finished it or not. And then we had software problems. There was a lot of stress. And then I was like, you know what, we're just gonna make the most out of it. And like the entire drive team, we all agreed and we're like, you know what, we're just gonna have fun and just enjoy ourselves.
And then about 6 matches in, we had like a revelation. Because there was another robot there, Raid 1, which was purely made for defense. And they were doing really, really well. So we decided, what if we tried that? What if we went on the defensive?
And then that's when kind of things turned around because the software started working again. And then we finally won a match and we were screaming and it was just so fun.
And that ended up working really well. We won, I think, 4 out of our 5 remaining matches. 3 of them that day, and at the end we went home feeling pretty good. We put a lot of effort into like the claw and making everything score correctly, which is, good to have and all, but if it's not working out, we need to at least have something to fall back on, but as it turns out, we're pretty good at it.
One of my favorite matches was definitely when we got to partner up with Raid 0 and Kalani, because us 3 in an alliance was just so much fun. This Raid Zero coach is so nice, and he was teaching us in the queue too, like giving us suggestions and tips, and it was nice because no other coach was doing that, and it was great. And then Kalani, their team is genuinely the sweetest people I've ever met. The student coach for Kalani's team, Lilani, is one of my closest friends when it comes to robotics and FRC. So it was so nice to partner up with her because usually we're always like going against their team, and it's like really like, I'm so sorry. But it was so nice that us three were on a team, and it was really fun. Competition was really fun after we just decided just to make the most of our time. Henry, Colin, and I just danced because we were just trying to have as much fun as possible, and it was just so fun, even though we didn't get to go on to the playoffs. And it was really nice actually getting to sit down and watch like the playoffs, because we got to see all the other robots and learn like, oh, maybe next time we should do this because their robot has this and they are succeeding quite well.
I had known that the team had won imagery in previous years a lot, but I knew that this year there were a bunch of other teams there that also had stuff, like the Tiki Techs had decorated their booth, so they were kind of giving us a run for our money, but I had faith that we would come out on top.
And then the highlight of everything was when we won the imagery award. And then me and Emma both just went, and it was just, we all just went down and we accepted it.
The fingerprints are all over it.
But it was that was definitely like everything, like it just tied everything together, like the cherry on top of the ice cream, you know, all those things. It just tied everything together. That was when I was kind of like, okay, all of this hard work was definitely worth it. I was screaming, and then later when I went home, I just cried, and like because I was just so happy.
One match we were like reprogramming the robot brain 20 seconds before the match started. So it was quite tiring, but it was worth it.
If you're considering to join an FRC team, you should definitely join. There's a lot of hard work that is put into it, and it's definitely challenging.
Because in robotics, everyone's got like a thing they do, and it's a thing they love to do. You don't just like join robotics and get assigned a role for something. If you join, then that means you've got something you want to do. Even if you just like, you know, you like art or something, there's still a place for you in a robotics team. We had like, I think 3 people dedicated to just art, just our aesthetics, just our imagery. That's probably why we won the award.
But at the end, the whole like competition and like just the end of the season, everything is like, the whole experience is amazing, and everything just becomes like, oh my God, that was worth it. Because at the end of the season, you have you've really bonded with the team. So you have so many new friends, and then you get to meet people from other like countries or like from the mainland that come over. And so you should definitely join.
Being on an FRC team is a pretty unique experience. I don't think I've ever quite, been anywhere else like it. But in a robotics team, everybody's putting all of their heart into what they're doing, no matter how it turns out. And that's something I've really seen nowhere else.